Alright everyone, Cody here. Welcome back to ChickenHole Base, the series where I'm building an off-grid homestead themed around being on Mars. Now if you watched to the end of the last episode, you might recall that Google finally sent a large payment, which has been long overdue. Well, I've been putting that to work, getting some more equipment and supplies. I guess you could say we got a supply drop from Mars, or from Earth to Mars, and I've been going around gathering it up. This here old cullet silo does look a lot like a spent rocket stage, after all. And this here is going to be the kitchen here at the homestead. Now you might ask, why does it need to be made out of such heavy steel? Look at this. This had to be made strong to withstand the pressure that the ground glass would have been putting on the inside of it. You know, why does it need to be that instead of one of these plastic tanks? Those are much lighter and much easier to move. Well, there's two reasons. One, steel is not flammable. It doesn't melt when it gets hot, or at least not until it gets very hot. But the second reason is that Mars bases, spacecraft in general, they don't have to be made to be able to withstand the amount of pressure that we have here in the Earth's atmosphere. It doesn't need to be a full one Earth's atmosphere. Humans can live in 0.2 to 0.25 atmospheres of pressure just fine, as long as it's pure oxygen. So you'd want to do that so that the base doesn't have to be made, you know, as strong as it would need to be able to handle 1 atmosphere of pressure. That reduces the amount of weight. But you do want some of the base to be strong enough to handle a full Earth's atmosphere of pressure for cooking. You see, if you have a pot of water and you want to boil some potatoes in it, well, the temperature that the water is going to boil at the 0.2 atmospheres of pressure is low enough that the potatoes are just never going to cook. So if you want them to cook, you have to increase the pressure so the water boils at a higher temperature. So you can actually get the starches and proteins to denature and such that you need to have happen for cooking. So, a pressurized kitchen. Now, would it be much more sensible to have only part of the base be pressurized? Like a pressure cooking pot, or even an enclosure around the oven and microwave? Would that be much lighter? Yes, it would. That's probably what's going to happen on a real Mars base. But I kind of want to be able to stir my food as it cooks. Hence, the entire kitchen being the pressure vessel. I think that'll be fun. Like, say I want to start my souffle cooking at the pressure equivalent of the Dead Sea, and then finish it on the top of a tall mountain in Colorado. Imagine all of the cool things that I can do with that. So anyway, we got some more supplies dropped off. You can see this bundle of cattle panels here. These will be making up the main skeleton for the walkway that goes between the habitat sections. It'll be very similar to what they use down at the Mars Desert Research Station in Hanksville, Utah. In fact, I'm the one that helped build a lot of that walkway tunnel. Let's go show you what we've been up to. Alright, so here's the back airlock. The idea is we're going to have like a simulated pressurized tunnel that we can walk out in here without a spacesuit on. Walk down here through the tunnel and go into the greenhab without having to be in a spacesuit and stuff. Because I hear that was rather annoying. And I'm going to do the same thing here, except it'll be a little bit better sealed, designed to handle a little bit of pressure. You can see these IBC intermediate bulk containers here from the last episode. I ended up getting them all full of water, which was quite a bit of work. I also lined them up here for a demonstration. It's starting to freeze. Winter is coming. But the demonstration was, if you had a square that's 1 meter by 1 meter on the ground at sea level on Earth, the massive atmosphere that you have above that square meter is equivalent to this much water, 10,300 liters. After seeing this demonstration, many people asked me, how much atmosphere do you have above every square meter on Mars? Well, the atmosphere on Mars depends greatly on the altitude and even the time of year, but usually for most of the planet, it's around 0.5% of Earth's sea level pressure. So 0.5% of 10,300, if I've done my math right, is about 60 liters, about 16 gallons, about the volume that this little barrel would hold. So with Earth's gravity, that amount of water would apply the amount of pressure that you have on Mars if it was spread out over a square meter. But remember, Mars doesn't have Earth's gravity. So the amount of mass you'd have to generate the pressure you have on Mars, the amount of mass that you have above every square meter on Mars, is equivalent to about 160 liters of water, or about 42 gallons. You come over here, you can see there's another one of those silos. This one is a little bit more dented. See, there's dents in it. So what I'm going to do is cut the bottom off, and we're going to weld it to the other one, or maybe bolt it. Haven't decided. But that way it'll be more of a pill shape, so it can handle a bit more pressure more easily. This one, when I took it off the trailer, I was hoping that this piece of wood there would stop it, and it just, drop and stop. In hindsight, that was never going to happen. It kept rolling. That's not too big of a deal, and it just flattened a few sagebrush. If we go over here, there's another black tank there, which I've delivered. That one I think will be used for the mushroom growing area. It's dark, keeps light out. Let's head over to the storage area, show you what else I've got. Okay, here we are. You can see there's another tank here. This one is insulated. It also rolled farther than I'd like. This one I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with it. It's got a lot of holes and ports in it. So I think I don't want to trust it to actually hold liquids. I think what it's actually going to be is a warm place for the chickens. So basically run a bar, piece of wood or something across the length of the tank from one end to the other. That'll be the chickens' roost. Maybe I'll have some boxes for egg laying. The back of it will cut a door so I can enter, come in, shovel out the droppings, etc. And then this hole here would be for the chickens to come in and out. I think that'd make a nice little chicken coop. Keep them warm. So this big plastic tank here is around 12,000 gallons. It's going to be the banana tower. So the tall greenhouse that I can grow banana plants in, or small trees, tall things. For now though, I think its most immediate use is going to be producing sulfuric acid via the chamber process. So if you look in here, you can see that the tank has got a lot of red-orange staining. That's iron. Now I can take that out. It just requires a strong acid to dissolve the iron oxide. And I was figuring, well, I want to try making sulfuric acid. Let's make it inside this tank so it can just clean out as we're making the acid. We'll of course rinse it out with clean water after we're done. That should be fine for being a very tall greenhouse. You can see there's a bunch of these plastic barrels here. These had soda syrup in them. They're mostly empty now. These will be the short greenhouses, the grow tunnels for plants that don't need all that height. So probably your potatoes and maybe rice, strawberries, radishes, short things. That'd be most of the growing surface area. There's some more cattle panels, some rail ties, and over here, some boxes of plastic. This is plastic greenhouse sheeting. This is some pretty heavy duty stuff. This will be covering the walkways. Now, that's what we've got so far, but it is not the end. We've got a bunch more stuff to deliver before winter hits, at least before the snow flies. So let's go grab Cody, have him help me unload that silo. All right, that's it unloaded. Cody did a very good job on that, I think. Although there is a small spot there that got dented. Miscalculated the height, I guess. These little sharp, pointy things on the side. But the bags of sand did stop it, so it didn't roll as far as the other one did. Excellent. Let's go get the backhoe. I also got a pressure washer to clean the equipment, mainly to remove seeds so I'm not spreading weeds. Got a telescope, take advantage of ChickenHole's very dark skies. A shipping container for covered lockable storage. Some glass for the algae panels. I'm currently growing out the culture to its full size. I've acquired a shadow, which seems to follow me everywhere. And finally, I've commissioned Peter the Thinker to build me a spacesuit. Like a proper pressurizable suit. I'm so excited. Boom. It's alive! So while I've been out rounding up the equipment and supplies, Cody's been here working on the greenhab, putting the dirt in, the walkway, and this trellis for growing climbing plants and such. But now that I'm here and can walk on it myself, I'm realizing this isn't going to work. These buckets are kind of uneven. They're not really that great. They squeak, they make noise. The plastic is old and brittle, so it breaks easily. The pieces get in the soil. The humidity in here is basically always going to be high, so this wood is going to rot, it's going to mold, and that could be toxic. So yeah, we're going to switch it out for something a little bit more earthy and ceramic. So, let's try these instead of plastic buckets. So, after a little bit of work, Mark II greenhab is, I wouldn't say done, but it's certainly done enough that I can start putting plants in here. So it's got a door, which needs to be sealed up, but that's the bulk of sealing things. Also needs the radiator installed for heating and cooling, and as well as the ventilation ports. I don't know where I'm going to put those. But yeah, these bricks are very nice. They're solid, they don't move, they don't make noise. Definitely a better choice. Now, underneath of them is a foundation of sand. I put that there to give the bricks a good solid footing, but also the sand will allow water to flow. So water can come in from the grow beds over here, hit that sand, and then travel along to this little well, and the water will pool up here, and I can tell how much water there is, or pump the water out if necessary. Over here is the window we decided to go with. Just a piece of hab canvas stretched across the hole. If you really needed to, you could punch through this and get out, so it's an emergency exit. But also, you might be able to kind of tell the sun is right there. We're near sunset, we're just after the winter solstice, so it just happened that this window is lined up with the sunset at midwinter. It wasn't intentional, but I'm not complaining. It's very pretty and kind of an indicator of the season. Anyway, these trellises, which you can see are mounted to the bricks. Kind of got some bricks set up here. Gives it a very good solid foundation. My plan is to put some probably snow peas right now, but in the summer maybe beans, and those will climb up this trellis and will give me all this surface area to gather light and also to harvest from. There's some spacers here. It's just a water bottle tied to the top of the trellis. This keeps it off of the plastic, keep it away from the tank. Because remember, water's going to condense on this, and if this metal's constantly wet, it's going to cause corrosion. So hold it away from that. That'll also allow plants to be able to grow past it. These buckets are also mainly just here as spacers, but they do work as little shelves. Maybe I could put a plant in there, use it to store tools, or maybe I could mount a sprinkler to them to water the plants. But yeah, I think I'm ready to go get some seeds. So, since this is a theoretically pressurizable portion of the habitat, I don't need a spacesuit, which is very nice. So I've got some seeds, got some snow peas, snap peas, and radishes. These are the things I think I can grow this time of year inside of a structure such as this. I've also got some peas which I have started to sprout already to give them a little bit of a head start. And I guess without further ado, it's time to plant some. So here we go. I'm going to plant the snow pea directly under the trellis. There we go. They can climb up. That's the first plant inside the new greenhab. Very nice. I'm also going to plant seeds just in case the transplanting stunts their growth. So here's the radish seeds. I'm just going to kind of broadcast them right around here. They'll be ready for harvest within a month or so. So I think this is as good a time as any to start wrapping up the episode. We got a bunch of new toys, much needed supplies, and plants are once again growing here at ChickenHole Base. So it's very exciting. It's great to see things coming together, and I can't wait till things progress even more, but I do have to pump the brakes a little bit. You see, I went into the county to inquire about building permits. What I have to do to make sure everything's legal with the government. According to my research, the process was pay a substantial fee. Great, I've got some money. Submit a plan, fill out some paperwork, notify my neighbors, and if nobody objects in a certain amount of time, then I'm good to go. Turns out that is the process if what I was building was standard construction. So I basically build it out of sticks and mud like everybody else does. Since I don't want to do that, they won't even talk to me unless a licensed engineer that they approve of has done the designing. There's a couple of problems with that. First, that's going to be really expensive. To hire an engineer to build all the blueprints and such is going to cost loads, especially since I can't really just have a friend do it free. It has to be someone that the county approves of. And second, there's no engineer in the world that could actually do that. Like this walkway, for example. On paper, it looked fine. It wasn't until I could actually walk on it that I realized it wasn't going to work. And so we changed the design. And that kind of thing is going to keep happening over and over again as the structure gets built. Nobody's built something like this before. There's problems that nobody even knows that are going to be problems yet. So at a minimum, I'm going to have to keep going back to the engineer and keep having the designs revised. And that's going to add to the cost. Another problem is that in order for this to be a permanent residence, I need to have a approved septic system, which wouldn't be too hard. I've got a backhoe now. And I need a water source, which is consistent and reliable throughout the year. So basically I can't capture rainwater like my original plan was, or extract water from the air. It's got to be a well. And that's going to be really expensive because I'm up here high above the water table. The well is going to be at least 200 feet deep, and at $50 a foot, it adds up. So my options are just build it anyway, ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's what everyone's telling me to do. But I've had run-ins with the government before, and I'm not really looking forward to doing anything like that again, so that's off the table. The second is that I go ahead and pay all the fees, hire an engineer, drill a well. I'll probably have to take out loans to do it. You know, I got tens of thousands, not millions of dollars to throw at this project, but maybe I could still do it. Maybe it'll be cheaper than I'm expecting. I could give up on this location, pack everything up, and haul it to a location that doesn't require building permits. I think New Mexico allows this sort of thing. People build their ships down there. Maybe I could build a Mars ship. I'd rather not do that because I'd be so far from my family and friends, and also it's really annoying to have to move that great distance. But I could do it. If I had to, I could. The final option, the one that I'm leaning towards, at least right now, is just to make sure everything I build doesn't require building permits. Like the structures I've built already, they're smaller than the requirements. And then I just happen to put them far enough apart that I don't need building permits for these two structures here. Maybe I'll just keep doing that. You know, maybe I could do most of what I want to do without requiring any building permits. But that still leaves the issue of not being able to call this home, not being able to have this be my permanent residence. But really, do I want to? Like, I see people drive up in their side-by-sides and Jeeps all the time. I see them on my cameras. And a lot of the time, people will get out and take selfies. Like, what are they doing? And then I realize, oh, this is a tourist attraction. Like, I've never tried to hide this location. I've never advertised this location either, but I've not taken special precaution to keep people from looking at the mountains and figuring out where it is. You know, it's entirely possible to do that. Many people have. And people driving through the area is like, hey, let's go visit ChickenHole Base. And as a result, it gets visitors. And I'm not really sure I want to raise a family somewhere where random people just show up. So if I do that route and just build structures that don't require building permits, then I'm going to have somewhere else to live. And I'm thinking just buying a place in the nearest town, somewhere that's already all set up, and then just treat this essentially as my backyard, just that I'd have to drive to it, right? It doesn't seem that bad. It's basically what I'm doing already, right? I could just maybe have my permanent residence be a little closer, and I think that would probably work. Anyway, nothing's set in stone yet. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.